Hey everyone, my name's Tracy. I homeschool my 7 kids. I live in Iowa. Anything else you want to know about me, you can look at my account and my other videos and stuff. This week we did a 90s week. So I have kids almost 13, down to 1. And this week we thought it would be fun because we saw another video somewhere where families were doing 90s week, no Alexas, no Googles, whatever, you know, and living like it was the 90s. And I thought that would be super fun, and I told my kids about it, and they thought it would be really fun too. Um, we just finished the 90s week. Tomorrow is Easter, so it was like during Holy Week. Um, and we had an awesome experience, and so I thought I'd tell you about it. Um, We also got the stomach flu this week, though. So while it could have been better, it was also still pretty awesome. So I wanted to tell you about it. Um, tell you the things that we learned, things that my kids thought were awesome, things that my kids thought stunk, um, and all of that. So that's what today's video is about. She's already got one. First of all, I want to talk about like why did we do a 90s week. Um, Honestly, I just felt like tech was just getting in everything so strong that I just couldn't handle it anymore. And we're a fairly low tech household compared with other households in this day and age. We have 2 TVs. We have one downstairs and one upstairs in our bedroom, my bedroom. We do not have tablets. The kids have the little like handheld games, but they're like the generic games, and I allow 20 minutes per kid per day. They get an hour of TV a day. We don't really use a computer, but I am on my phone a lot. And we do have like a Google Nest thing where you can say play music or whatever. Um, so really, we're a lower tech household compared to everything else, but everything was still so focused. What's the weather outside? We'll ask the Google thing. Well, what's what's it? What does this word mean? How do you spell this? All these books that I have over on my shelves were like not getting used, um, because it's just faster to just ask Google. Um, and I wanted to flip it on its head. I also wanted the kids to see like what life was like when kids weren't really in charge of their lives. As silly as that sounds. Um, when you just did what you were told, and there wasn't well, we're doing this because of blah, 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 or any of that. I wanted them to kind of see what it was like being raised in those 90s. I was born in 89, so my younger years were during the 80s. My husband was born in 83, so he was a little bit older in the 90s. Um, and that's why we wanted them to see it. We wanted them to see what it was like 30, 40 years ago. Um, Kind of as a history lesson, I suppose, although that definitely makes me grow some more gray hairs. Um, we felt like it was a simpler time, and yeah, that that's why we wanted to just show them what it was like with less technology and also less personal control of their lives as kids. We wanted them to also be grateful for the things that have improved over the years. Um, One of those things is that in Iowa, anyway, um, homeschooling was not legal until 1991. Um, you'll find if you look up your state, chances are it became legal in the 80s. Um, I have a little graphic I made. And it shows where things became legal and where and when they became legal. But generally speaking, in the 90s, homeschooling looked very different than it does today. And my husband and I were both public schooled during the 90s, so of course our days were even more different. So I kind of tried to bridge both those and say, okay, this is what it would be like if we were homeschooling in the 90s. This is what it was like being public schooled in the 90s, and kind of show them a little bit of both. So we ate like it was the 90s too, and relaxed like it was the 90s, and kind of played by the rules like it was the 90s. And yeah, so why don't we go through the food first and all the things that we learned about the food. So this will be backwards for you, but I made a little menu of the things that we normally ate during the 90s. For breakfast, we had lots of sugary cereals. So we definitely did. Eggs and sausage and toast, that was a special thing. When I remember it, we didn't have that very often, but it was there. We had oatmeal, and I got the dinosaur egg oatmeal for the kids, and they thought that was adorable. Eggo waffles, French toast sticks and syrup. That one was kind of like a public school breakfast that we would have. So I got it for at home, but yeah, more sugar cereal and Pop-Tarts. So the kids were so crazy to see all these things on the menu because it's sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar. They were like, what is this? Because our normal breakfast, I say you can have 1 or 2 carbohydrates, 1 or 2 proteins, and 1 or 2 fruits or vegetables. You need to have 1 of each at least, up to 2 for a balanced breakfast. And so they were utterly shocked at the amount of sugar in this stuff. And I was like, yeah, well, eat your fruit with it and maybe grab some peanut butter or something if you want to do this. But this is how we ate in the 90s. It was like, my brother, he survived a day on like a 2-liter root beer and a can of frosting. That was his normal, like, this is what I feel like eating thing. So yeah. Okay, we had chocolate milk. We had chocolate milk pretty much every single day at school.
Lucky.
Sometimes twice a day. And if you didn't have chocolate milk, you had regular milk, and you had milk with dinner also. Usually not chocolate milk with dinner, usually regular white milk, but sometimes you could do strawberry milk with dinner. We had at least 3 cups of milk each person each day.
You were so lucky.
For lunches, we had bologna sandwiches for a couple of the days, SpaghettiOs, and I got the kind with meatballs because I couldn't find the one with hot dogs. Chicken and star soup, cup of noodles, peanut butter and jelly on white bread, and I got the peanut butter and jelly that's in the jar together. It's like goober or something or another, because I remember that coming out and my parents being absolutely scandalized because they were very upset if you got jelly into the peanut butter or peanut butter into the jelly, and then it just blew their minds that somebody made peanut butter and jelly in the same jar. So I got that just because it was funny. And Hot Pockets. Okay. If your family was a little bit better off, you would have Hot Pockets.
Huh? What did you say?
So you microwave these, and they're like little pizzas, or they have ham and cheese ones too. Little pizza pockets, and they were like molten lava around the edges and stuff, and there was an ice brick right in the middle. So you guys get to enjoy the joy of Hot Pockets.
Yahoo!
Nestle. I got a couple packs of like the pepperoni pizza Hot Pockets and explained to them how if you microwave them, they were basically like rock hard ice crystals in the middle and like molten lava on the outside. Um, but lucky for them, I went ahead and baked it since I have a big family. I wasn't going to be microwaving all of these for 3 minutes each. Anyway, so those were some of the lunches. Snack. I don't usually do a snack. I usually just say grab a piece of fruit. Um, but I know in the 90s for me, just fruit wasn't really, I didn't just go grab an apple. I don't know. Did you? Maybe. So one day we had fruit cocktail. Remember the ones with the cherries? I got the kinds with extra cherries so that all my kids could have cherries instead of them fighting for like the two halves that are at the bottom. Apples and peanut butter, crackers and cheese. My kids never eat crackers and cheese, and they were very surprised to see that the cheese doesn't come pre-sliced or pre-shredded. You have to like cut it yourself. Carrots with ranch, and you had to cut the carrot sticks yourself. Peanut butter and celery, they have that normally, but so they weren't too surprised by that. But peanut butter and celery was another one. Dry cereal, just snacking and cereal, and microwave popcorn with the extra butter, or like movie theater butter. Dinners were where it gets really fun, and I'll give you guys the reaction to each one. So on Sunday we had meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and canned vegetables. It was corn. And I believe that I did a salad with it too, with the torn romaine lettuce, because nowadays, in 2026, I cut my lettuce. I am not dealing with ripping it, but in the 90s, you had to rip it. Otherwise, it would brown. Anyway, so we had meatloaf with barbecue sauce on the top, the mashed potatoes with lots of butter, canned corn, and salad. And my boys loved the meatloaf. My husband loved the meatloaf. Everyone was like, all those guys were like, this is amazing. My 5-year-old girl, she's pretty good on the meatloaf. She was like, yeah, this is actually pretty good, because I told her it's kind of like a hamburger, but with no bread, and it's just really big. So she was like, okay, yeah, cool. So she ate it. My 7-year-old, who's an extreme picky eater, ate nothing that night except the tomatoes in the salad. What's
Got
up?
the video game.
Cause I had 2 snacks and I only had one from the garage sale.
But there was like practically no leftovers. They completely mowed that down. Meatloaf might be something I add into my normal routine. When I did the grocery shopping and pulled things out, I showed them how much ground beef we were gonna go through them that week, and it was 10 pounds of ground beef, and my boys' jaws just dropped. They're like, "That's so much meat." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a lot of meat, right?" So they were very excited about all the ground beef. You could go through at least 7 pounds of ground beef, regardless of your family size in the 90s, because you had you added a pound of ground beef to everything. All right. On Monday we had shake and bake chicken, so drumsticks, and I had never actually made shake and bake chicken, but I remember eating it when I was a kid, and it wasn't just the shake and bake, it was the cornflake shake and bake chicken. And again, the kids absolutely went nuts. The big boys and my 5-year-old did pretty good. My meat eaters were just very excited for shake and bake chicken, and we got some leftover mashed potatoes and oh, what else did I put with it? I think we had another salad, and some more canned vegetables. My poor little 7-year-old was super not interested. Uh, so I'm not even sure what she decided to eat that night, but so we had shake and bake chicken. Then on Tuesday we did Taco Tuesday, but we did it 90s style. Normally I'd use um, soft tortillas nowadays, but I got the crunchy tacos for them for this one, and another big hit. Everybody was like, "This is awesome. I like this. This is great." One of the differences is that now I normally add a bunch of beans to mine to stretch the meat farther. This time I went ahead and did just straight ground beef, um, which they thought was awesome. Um, because they're used to me stretching it a little bit, and they were very pleasantly surprised that I got the just plain old beef. We had the strips of lettuce and the tomatoes and all the things that you would remember from a 90s taco night. On Wednesday, we did spaghetti and salad. And we used, of course, spaghetti, but we used the jarred sauce. Now, I don't buy jarred sauce. I either make it myself and can it and make it and stuff like that, or if I didn't get to do that like I didn't this year, I used crushed tomatoes and then I make my own sauce for it. But this time we used just canned ragu sauce, and the kids' minds were absolutely blown that I would put sauce on noodles. My gosh. And salad. So they loved that. My picky 7-year-old really enjoyed that. I think she ate more that day than she did on literally any other day that week. Um, but there was still some left over, so the next day we had goulash. Instead of the macaroni noodles, we just used the leftover spaghetti noodles. And I added beans to that one. I don't know if your family was a add beans to the goulash or not in the 90s, but I remember it both ways. And my kids ate all of that. Gone. The goulash was just gone. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. On Friday, Good Friday, fish sticks and tater tots and canned vegetables. We had green beans. It was okay. Um, my bigger eaters ate that just fine. Went back for seconds and even thirds, which is not exactly a Good Friday thing, but they're still kids. Um, my 7-year-old ate exactly 0 bites and didn't even want to come to the table. But the others did okay, aside from the ones that had the tummy bug. So, fish sticks, tater tots, and good old canned green beans. Um, there was a lot of canned vegetables instead of fresh, which everyone thought was very interesting because I'm very much a fresh vegetable person, and then I can cook it for the people who want it cooked and leave it raw for the people who want it raw. And then last, we actually swapped some of these around. So the Sloppy Joes, I know today's Saturday, so a lot of this was like last week Saturday. Sloppy Joes on Saturday with the Manwich can and everything. And again, all my meat eaters thought that this was amazing. We had French fries with it. And then my husband had a birthday on that day, so we had birthday cake on that day too. And it was fantastic. They liked it a lot. Overall, the kids loved this menu. There was so much in here that they thought was just absolutely special. They thought that it was amazing that everything was so convenient. Like, everything was in a package. There was a cup of noodles, Hot Pockets, Pop-Tarts. Everything was just all packaged up so that you could eat it very conveniently. Things were in a can, things were in a box. and it didn't take a whole lot of prep work. They would probably like me to include some of these in our normal routine. Um, I could see them really wanting sloppy joes more often, and the meatloaf actually. Um, the shake and bake chicken was a pretty good hit. I bet that they would like it if I included a lot of these dinners back into our routine. But if I was going to do it, I would be doing it in a different way. So the sloppy joes, instead of using the pre-made manwich stuff, I would be getting leaner beef, um, and I would be making my own sauce. If I was going to be making fish sticks and tater tots and stuff, they like those things, but I'd be getting the better quality fish sticks, and instead of doing canned vegetables, which they just would ignore, I would be doing some fresh stuff with it so that they could get some vegetables in. Um, if I was going to be doing the shake and bake chicken, I would just make sure that they also were getting um, basically just adding a whole bunch of vegetables that they will actually eat into this. Um, Reducing a lot of the salt, reducing some of the sugar, and honestly adding back some of the fats, because 90s were a time when everyone was trying to diet, and so they had reduced all the fat, but all the sugar was still there, which is insane. People were just going and being like, we're going to burn fat, we're going to eat this treat that's loaded with sugar but has like no fat, and therefore we're going to be less fat. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I know, because I tried it, and I'm still the way I am. Anyway, it would be fun to modify this to being still like kid pleasing, still relatively convenient, but at a better level of nutrition. So that was our meal plan for the week. That's how we manage things. The kids were very surprised by the lack of fresh vegetables. Very excited about all the packaged stuff that we never buy. And every time I got out something new, they were just mind blown. You should have seen it when I mixed up Kool-Aid. Yes, we had Kool-Aid. And I still actually have a grape Kool-Aid that I was going to let them. And we froze ice cubes made out of Kool-Aid so that I'll probably do this tomorrow, so that tomorrow we could have water with rainbow ice cubes in it. So it'll be fun for Easter. Yeah, so why don't we talk about the next part of our 90s week, and that is what school was like. So I was homeschooled from about 2003 to about 2006. Before that, I was in public school. Um, and so I was the 2003 through 2006 was like my first 3 years of high school, and then I dropped out. I got my GED. So I've never been to a public high school, um, and that was my experience. Homeschooling was up in the bush in Alaska for about 3 years. And my husband always went to public school. So I was not personally homeschooled during the 90s, but really close. So I had a little bit of personal experience, and I've also have chatted with people who did homeschool during the 90s, like personally they were homeschooled, or people like the moms who homeschooled their kids during the 90s. So I had a decent handle on what it was like homeschooling during the 90s. And I also knew for sure what it was like being public schooled in the 90s. So we kind of did like a cross. My family typically unschools, and that means that it's very child led, meaning they express an interest in something, and then I say, I can help you to learn about that, and then I bring in a lot of interests and a lot of subjects that pertain to those interests so that they can get all of their math, their reading, their history, their science, and all of that stuff within what they're interested in. But it's very child led, and that means that some days they are intense on learning, and some days they need a break. They're like not interested at all, and they are just goofing off. Um, we keep our routines, we eat at this time, we do chores at that time, and things like that. But the quality of learning can vary depending on what day it is. Now, with homeschooling in the 90s, and please let me know what your experience was if you were homeschooled during the 90s or if you were doing homeschooling during the 90s. But the majority of homeschool families did boxed curriculum. You basically ordered it in the fall. It arrived in a big old box, and then you worked through it from the beginning of the reading program to the end, the beginning of the math to the end, the beginning of the science to the end. And if you didn't get it done before summer break, you kept working during the summer break. It was designed to be a Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday thing. You would do, this is your work for the week. Now, there's a lot of families that still do that, still do a boxed curriculum or something similar, like a computer curriculum, but it keeps track of where you are and how far you are and how much you're completing. And moms were expected to basically do grading and keep records and things like that of their kids. The other thing that a friend of mine brought up was that in the 90s, if you were a homeschool kid, you didn't go play in the front yard during the day because the truancy officer might be called on you, and then you'd have to answer for it. So this week, kids played only in the backyard between the hours of like 8:30 and 2:30 if they went outside. And they were like, what, we can't ride our bikes? I'm like, truancy officer might come over and say, hey, what are you doing out of school? And depending on if it's legal or not, is it 1990 right now? Is it 1992 right now? We might get in some trouble. So they all played in the backyard during any time outside, and they were very confused by that. What do you mean? What do you mean? What? They wanted their freedom. And then I had packets for them. I had put together math packets with one worksheet per day of the week for each child. Same with the writing packets, same with like the copy work, religion, where we copy down a memory verse and cursive or print or whatever. We did science, we did history, and we did art. And so it was very interesting to see how the kids handled this. On Monday, it was very much like trailblazing. They had never done something like this before. They were like, wait, we have to do more. Wait, we have to do more. We have to do more. Yes, you have to do more. One of the first bills suggested in Iowa for homeschooling was, one of the parts of it was that at home you had to do 5.5 hours of instruction every day, which as modern homeschoolers we realize is just outrageous. It's that it would be like pulling teeth. Not only that, it was not unnecessary, because you don't have to take that long to educate in a home setting as than you do in a public school setting. Anyway, but they were very surprised. We have to do like 7 subjects a day every day. Yes. And what happens if we don't? Well, then you don't get to do anything fun. There's no fun until the work is done. So They were very much trailblazing on Monday. On Tuesday, they kind of had gotten the hang of it. They were doing a little bit better. They got through it in a reasonable amount of time. Um, on Wednesday, they realized, hey, if we get through with this, we can go do whatever we want when we're done. And so they got on their school really fast and just plowed through it really fast and got done early. And they were so excited. And they got to do whatever they wanted in the house or in the backyard. Um, and everyone was very, very pleased with that. That night, my little guy got pretty sick and he was just not doing well. And so I didn't have time to do the extra tidy that I had been doing in the evening. So I told the kids, hey, you're going to have to step up and help in the morning. There's going to be a little extra dishes, a little extra laundry, a little extra work for you guys to do because I wasn't able to jump in. And they said, okay. And it wasn't much. It was 5 or 10 minutes each, maybe. But the next morning, with them finishing so early yesterday and having so much free time, they were like, "Oh, that was super easy. No, I'm not even going to worry about it." And so they went slow and lazy through their chores. And then when I checked in with them and I said, "Hey, it's 8:30. It's time to start school. Are you done?" And they're like, "Oh no." So they tried to get their chores done quick, and they got on their schoolwork, and they took forever to do it. They, instead of being like right on top of it, they're like trudging through it and whining and stuff, thinking, oh, if I whine enough, mom will relent and just let me do whatever I want to do. Oh, can I just do one more problem and then be done? No, this is the 90s. You're done when it's finished. Oh, half-hearted attempt at things. No, sorry, erase that and try again. It took 5 hours. That 5.5 hours I said it shouldn't take, it took 5 hours for them to finish writing a paragraph. They missed out on TV time, they missed out on fun time, they had to do their afternoon chores after that, and everyone was panicking because they were missing out on so many fun things that they did not expect me to follow through on. They didn't expect, oh, mom's just gonna let us, well, it's TV time, so we get to have TV. Nope. You didn't finish it. You didn't finish it to the degree that you need to finish it. So that was a wake-up call. On Friday, I woke up at 7:30 or so to them coming into the room with finished math work saying, Mom, please correct this so I can get done early. And it seems that they had learned their lesson. I was very, very pleased. So they had learned their lesson about I wasn't going to let them get away with things because it's the 90s. You didn't get away with things. You had to do what you set out to do. So they on Friday they were really on task. And I had this planned all along, but they didn't realize it. On Friday, I was going to give them a little taste of the rolling the TV into the classroom. Oh my gosh, we get to watch something as part of school today. And I let them have a little sampler of all of the things that we watched during the 90s and early 2000s, and probably the 80s too, that our teachers would use as a substitute thing or whatever. So they got Schoolhouse Rock for the math and for the writing. They got Bill Nye, the old kind, the 90s one, and Magic School Bus for science. You got Liberty's Kids, which was marginal. That's like 2003. But just bear with me. I got Liberty's Kids for history. And then we had Reading Rainbow and Bob Ross. And so that was our school day on Friday, and they were actually really excited. They're like, oh yeah, we get to do this. It was good. It was good. They got to experience kind of like the 90s PBS kid kind of a thing. Um, which I think a lot of us were raised on one way or the other. That's a lot of our learning came from PBS. Um, and that was pretty good.
In fact, it's great having everything in the ecosystem. But you know what's more in the distance? Take yourself right back on.
Magic school bus from my school. Our takeaway from the homeschool in the 90s is that number one, my kids can do a lot more if they set their mind to it. I say that cautiously because I still believe in unschooling. I don't think that it is exactly more, but what I mean is that they can persevere through more difficult things to continue to push through and learn and have a little bit more emotional resilience, and not have to be like, oh, it no longer strikes joy, so I'm not going to keep doing it. Uh, you can push through a little bit further until you reach a good end to this. And I think I'll be incorporating that more into our unschooling. You're interested in this? Great. We're going to pursue this, but we're going to pursue it one step further than you want to. And I'm going to hold you to that because it's good to learn perseverance. Another thing was that they weren't in control of it. You had to write this down, even though it had nothing to do with your life, because writing was king. Neat writing was king. Mental math, knowing your multiplication tables and stuff was king. Those were, if you got two things, it was legible handwriting and multiplication facts. If you got those two things out of school, that's all they really cared about. So learning all of that, they were kind of surprised by how important that was, but I'd like to incorporate that back into our school. We had a few other rules for our 90s week. The lowest tech possible, nothing after 1999 as far as like TV. I got like a newspaper to show them how we checked the weather, how we checked what was going to be on TV. They can't watch the same two shows in a row because we didn't have double features. We had whatever it was, and if you didn't get it at exactly 3 o'clock, you missed your show. So they had their TV time between 3 and 4 if they got everything done. And if they ran out of time, they did not get to watch the rest of their show. It won't be on until next week. So that was kind of fun. They learned about the Land of the Lost. That was a show that they'd never seen before. I'm like, oh, the Land of the Lost is on. You guys want to go watch it? And they were like, what's that? Well, go watch it and find out. Or can we watch TV? Well, the only thing on right now is Matlock. What's Matlock? It's like a courtroom drama. And they're like, ew. I loved Matlock. Are you kidding? Cheers, Matlock, Frasier. Those were my jam. So so we had kind of just general rules about that. And they're like, can we use a dishwasher? I'm like, yeah, we had dishwashers in the 1990s, but you had to be more on top of it, and they weren't like as good, so you had to kind of wash things beforehand and all that. Generally speaking, I think the kids had a really decent time. They were a little frustrated by the lack of control over their lives. What do you mean I can't just whine and get my way? What do you mean I can't do whatever kind of school I want to do? But in general, it was pretty good. Okay, Teresa. 90s week. What did you like about 90s week?
90s week was fun because of the Pop-Tarts.
The Pop-Tarts?
Yeah.
What other foods did you like in 90s week?
The Twinsicles.
Oh, the Twinsicles, yeah, the popsicles that you had to break in half. Okay, so these are twin pops, and so see how there's two sticks on them? That meant you had to agree with your brother or sister on what flavor you guys were going to share. Because you would get it and then you had to break it in half also in the bag. And then you each got a half. This was how we did popsicles back then. So, Anthony, could you put the popsicles in the freezer before they thaw out? There are a lot of fun flavors though.
Is that rainbow? There's yellow.
I don't know if there's any going on. What about, did you like the meatloaf?
What is it?
The meatloaf was kind of, the one that I said was kind of like a hamburger. Just the patty part. It had barbecue sauce on it.
It was yummy.
Yeah, you like that. Did you like the shake and bake chicken?
No.
No. You helped me make the shake and bake chicken, though.
Yeah, that was the fun bit.
Yeah. Did you like the goulash? The noodles with the meats and the beans that we had
Yes.
2 days ago? Yeah. We ate a lot of that. Did you like the SpaghettiOs?
Yeah.
Did you like the Hot Pockets?
Yeah.
Okay, what about school? Did you like doing 90s school?
Not much.
No, why not?
Because it was boring.
Was it all boring? You finished your math packet, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you do in your math packet?
Draw a toady.
Yeah, you did color by number. And what did you get when you were done with your math packet?
Sticker.
Mm-hmm. And that was fun, right? Yeah. Did you like watching the shows, the 90s stuff?
Yeah.
What shows did you like watching?
What is the dinosaur time?
Oh, the dinosaur time. The Land of the Lost.
The Land of the Lost and also the Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus. Did you like Bill Nye?
What is that?
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Yeah. Did you like Schoolhouse Rock? What was the one with all the multiplication and the numbers?
Like 1,
Eh.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, that one. Did you like it? No, not really. What about Reading Rainbow?
Loved it because it was about pizza.
It was about pizza. Did you like Liberty's Kids?
No.
Not really. What about, did you guys watch any other shows?
Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles, yeah.
But not Pokemon.
No, they watched Indigo League.
Mm.
Yeah, at the beginning of the week. What did you think about playing outside? What was the rules about playing outside?
You can only be at the back
Yeah, why?
because when it's the time that you can be at the front, you can.
Yeah. So during the school day, you had to only play in the backyard. You couldn't go out front and play on your bikes. Huh? Yeah. Do you think we should do more 90s week, or do you think we should go back to today?
To 90.
You think so? Yeah?
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing?
I love the Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets. Can you do that? Can you go, Hot Pockets?
Hot Pockets.
Yeah. They were like little pizza pockets. What was your other favorite thing?
Dreamsicles.
Twinsicles. And what's something you don't want me to do again?
Do the second. No more.
No more shake and bake. Okay.
I like the Play-Doh so cute.
So probably one of the things I'm going to be taking away from 90s Week is that there were some benefits to the parenting and the structure that was going on back in the 90s where it was like, I'm sorry, I don't care if you don't want to do this, you have to do it. Yeah, you can feel that way, but you're not going to cause everybody else the problem by feeling that way. A little less child-led, a little bit more parent-led, which I know what that sounds like. I know what that sounds like. I know that means like you're saying, oh well, you've been letting your kids get away with everything. No, if you know me in person, you know that is absolutely not true. I just tend to try to work with their preferences and just kind of be kind about it. But I'm thinking I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. We can all learn something from this, and they can learn that sometimes life isn't fair, right? Yeah. So we're gonna incorporate a little more life isn't fair into our lifestyle. Get these kids a little bit more like toughened up, huh? Yeah. And I think we're gonna definitely add in some of the 90s foods that we ended up enjoying, although I'm going to try to get a little healthier version of it. Like, kids like those Hot Pockets, but I'm going to see if I can come up with something that's a little healthier, but still a Hot Pocket. Okay? Yeah. And, yeah, it was a really fun week. We got to listen to some fun music, watch some fun shows, live like it was the 90s. I wasn't on my phone all the time, just when I really needed to be, because things are in this day and age, you know. You can't just open the phone book to call about appointments. You can't do things like that. So, I think it was fun. I think it was great. It was a lot lower stimulation, which kind of helped reset my brain a little bit. And I think I was one of the people that benefited the most from this. And it was great. My kids have joked that, oh, maybe we should do a 50s week, or maybe we should do things like that, which could be fun in the future. That might be something fun. But maybe we'll do like a 50s day or a 70s day and how they would have done it back then. Yeah. It was a fun little social experiment here in our homeschool. I'm ready to come back into 2026 with just a few lingering techniques from the 90s, right? Yeah. And I think everyone will be sad to see the butterfly clips go, so I'm going to think we're going to keep all of our butterfly clips, right? Yeah. There's more. The boys will probably keep gelling their hair. And the girls have their little necklaces.
I already have.
I know, you're just holding it for me. There's some more butterfly clips. There's a lot of butterfly clips. How'd they get there?
I put them there.
Oh, okay.
And there's one more.
Is there? Oh, yep, you're right. So, happy 90s week. Let me know if you guys decide to do something like this in your home or something you remember from the 90s that I should have included. It was a lot of fun. And happy Easter. God bless.